That'll be 60,000. Number one, he'll be back in the Firestone, and with his record, he's going to win some money there. Number two, he has a career that he could foster, and he's the type of guy that can take advantage of a U.S. Open title for endorsements outside. This is a great big game for Steve Cook, but tremendously important for Frank Ellenburg.
Got a 222 in the last game and opens with a strike. Commissioner Joe Antonora of the Professional Bowlers Association here at the United States Open, which next year will be contested in Tacoma, Washington for a total purse of $500,000, $100,000 of the winner. And that'll be pressure, but there's plenty on this likable 33-year-old Frank Ellenburg. Masters champion in 78, won his last title in 1981. Rather light hit, and gets it, Bo.
Very aggressive, very confident shot for Frank Ellenburg. If you see the big guy, 6'4", cutting the ball short, that means a short follow-through. You know that either one of these players, especially at this size, are going to have trouble. But you see Frank Ellenburg, 6 feet 4 inches tall, all stretched out, drives down, deep knee bend, palms that ball, and look at the follow-through go high and stretched out. If you see it start shortening up, trouble for Frank Ellenburg. If you see him reach out like that, he'll be very, very tough. There's a man who does not beat himself. He's determined.
Beautifully done. Before going on the air, Frank asked me, he said, do you and Bo get butterflies before you go in here? And I said, squadrons of them. And I asked him about his, and he said, well, he's trying to get them to flee. And I think he has.
Well, I think sometimes, in fact, I'm sure being a little bit nervous especially, or at least apprehensive out there on the lane is very important. It keeps the adrenaline flowing, keeps your mind acute to what the job is in front of you. Another big determined man needs a strike to even the match. Steve Cook.
Not quite. 7-pin. Next week, the St. Louis Open, one of the cradles of all of bowling.
St. Louis has a little snow up there. They say it's warming, and the players are heading up that way. It'll be another great, great TV finals. Our 7th week in the Professional Bowlers Tour. But now we're in the first 6th week, the first major, the U.S. Open.
And we'll get to see Dick Weber again. The senior bowler. Candy Cook, whose sister is married to Indianapolis's Mike Albee.
Steve Cook, who is a nemesis of the great Earl Anthony. He beat Earl Anthony all 5 times they competed against each other in the championship round. And of course, Earl, with plenty of money back there, he probably has to spend half a championship round just counting it now. Doesn't miss getting whipped by this great man. 2 men that are left-handers and great friends. Steve Cook.
Leaving the 4-7, and though there are a lot of left-handed bowlers in league play, so they really enjoy to see one in the final 5.
And you can see, Chris, the angle that the left-hander's playing. He doesn't have to worry about that wear or tear on the right-hand side quite as much, because the left side's a little smoother, so he can play that outside trajectory out around the 1st or 2nd board, increases your carry power. 4-7 for Steve Cook. Needs it to trail by 12 pins.
A little body English there. Well, he got the 4-7, but just with a spare in the 3rd. Now Ellenburg, the tournament leader, with the double up, shooting in the 3rd. He can really tighten the screw a little bit here, leading by 12.
Frank with that 5.5-inch span, tremendously strong and powerful hands. Look at how his hand is wrapped all the way, looks like all the way around the circumference of 27 inches, that bowling ball, but 5 inches around. As he is a little bit disturbed, the camera person moved down there. We have a screen that blocks out all the still cameramen, Chris. And sometimes it's it's
not a TV camera. It's still camera,
still
right?
cameras. And I can't believe, Frank, you can hear a pin drop in this bowling centers. So important.
That's it. Take another deep breath, Frank. Using all the approach, his right heel is off of it. And that will help him, no doubt about it, having to recapture the concentration, and that gives him 3 in a row.
Watch the trajectory of the ball rolled by Frank Ellenburg. Lofted out on the lanes, all drive through with his legs. Frank is a leg bowler. He just drives so hard with those legs. Solid in the pocket. You see the 6 driving out to 10. In the driver's seat after 3 frames, an aggressive, determined Ellenburg leads by 22 pins. Can extend to 32 with another strike.
2 heavyweights in bowling for the U.S. Open title.
No perfect game, but Frank cannot be disappointed with that shot. He put it just about where he wanted it. Leaves the soft 10 to the light 10. You see the 6 lay in the channel. Doesn't get quite the break that we had seen Brian Voss get in earlier matches, but it keeps the match tight. With a conversion here, Frank, who is an excellent spare shooter, will lead by 21 pins.
Good speed. Nice shot. Spare in the 4th. Ellenburg, the tournament leader, has a 21-pin lead. More of the title match after the... When we run over, we have to bowl through, which we just did. Steve Cook doubled in the 4th and 5th frames with strikes. You see it there. Now Ellenburg, the tournament leader, spare up in the 4th, shooting in the 5th. Another 10, right lane.
Identical to the shot he left on the left-hand lane in the 4th frame. Frank converted it with just a perfect straight across lane shot. Frank, who started bowling at the age of 13, is married to an excellent bowler, his wife, who was the recipient of the Billy Whaley Scholarship Award for bowling, and she attended the Arizona State University with that scholarship.
Late Billy Whaley, preceding Bo here in our telecast.
One of the many scholarships that are available to the aspiring high school bowlers going into college. I think if you have just a message, if you have a son or daughter that is a good bowler, should check out the scholarships available. In fact, the winner of the Billy Whaley Scholarship Award this year is Kurt Pisano, son of the famous Chuck Pisano, bowling writer and member of PBA's Hall of Fame. Son Kurt will be going to the University of Miami.
And collegiate bowling competition gets stronger and stronger each year.
Possibility of getting it in the Olympics also. That
looks good.
Great.
Looks good.
10-pin lead, Frank Ellenburg, 6th frame.
Yes.
Sliding way by, leaving the 1-2 sleeper, 8.
Combination that we saw Brian Voss start off his match against David Ozio with. He left the 1-2-4-8. The 1-2-8 just as difficult. Have to get the ball to the left side of the head pin, let the ball hit the 1, drive in the 2 carry out the 8. A very deliberate Frank Ellenburg, important shot, leads by 7 pins with this conversion.
Two big fellows here in Venice, Florida. Following our telecast live from Dublin, Ireland, the first championship fight there in 63 years. The champion, Barry McGuigan, going against Cabrero of the Dominican Republic. Scheduled. It's going to be a neat fight, and I hope his dad, Barry McGuigan's father, sings Danny Boy, as he usually does before his son's bout.
That should charge him up. And here's a man needs to get charged up. Trails by 7, $38,000 at stake. People often ask me, how much money does it take you to tighten up? And personally, Chris, I've always been inspired by a prize fund. I always felt that the more you pay, the better you bowl. But sometimes players become too deliberate, not wanting to make a mistake. I think you can see it in both these players' games. They've slowed down to the point where they're out of their normal rhythm, and they're not releasing that ball with the fluidity that we normally see.
Attention of the wives mirrored on Candy's face. Well done, Steve Cook, who ousted David Ozio in the semifinal match leading to this championship one, trailing by 8 pins, marking with the spare in the 6th frame.
A ruling point here. People say, well, how slowly can you bowl? And the PBA rule is very simply this. As Steve Cook pats a little rosin on his ball, he must wipe that off. Number one, that's a rule. You can't have anything on the outside surface. And he must release this ball and clear the approach within 15 seconds. Or the penalty is imposed by Harry Golden. First is a warning, then a penalty.
There we go.
And Steve gets his 4th strike in this title match. We're here in Venice. No, a wobbly 7. In the 7th frame, he left the 6-10 marked with a spare. Now, we're in the 8th frame in a match that is running behind our schedule. That's why we bowl through. Sorry.
When I said that this is the oldest major tournament, go back to the early 1920s. It was called the National Match Game Championship, and right now we're down to a 1-game match with a $38,000 prize.
Back-to-back spares. 5 pins separating these two. The 6'7" Steve Cook can change that with this shot.
The semifinal match that Steve Cook won was changed in the 8th frame. Right now, he's in the 8th frame. He trails by 5, has a strike working, can take the lead right here. First time in a match, could be in the lead.
Tap, a kiss down at the end, and a big X on the score sheet. 8th frame strike double. Leads by 5.
And he likes it. The action of the 5-pin, that power driving over into the 10. A disciplined Steve Cook, not trying to use all power. He's got a beautiful blend between accuracy, power, discipline. He has the match in his hand if he can strike here in the 9th frame and hold off a charging Ellenburg.
Good enough.
That triple. Not winning a singles title since '83. His opponent not since 1981. This has been a pressure battle. Now, with a spare up shooting in the 9th, the tournament leader, Frank Ellenburg.
With that reaction, Steve Cook says, Frank Ellenburg, the landlord, is coming for the rent. You better get ready.
38 to the winner, 20 to the runner-up again. Concentration break.
Ellenburg, who started so quickly, strike 1st, 2nd, 3rd frames, has been 5 frames without a strike. Had spare in the 4th through the 8th. 9th frame, trails by 15, must get striking.
The word must underlined and sounds so trite, but not to the bowler when he must do. And there you see Barry McGuigan, the only athlete I know that ever united a country in divided Ireland. And I did that at his last fight in Belfast. IRA members were right behind me. The opposition and no problems. But what a young man that can do that. And sports often is an equalizer. So that's coming up next, live from Dublin.
Frank Ellenburg, who's coming up, trails by 15 pins, must strike on this ball to get back in the match.
It's a 2 on the left lane.
The match is not over yet, though. Steve Cook knows that he has to still have a good performance in the 10th. As Frank Ellenburg lets it send a sail just a little bit wide, leaves the 2-pin, but he should take his time as he has the whole match. Convert the 2-pin, he'd finish with 212. He would force Steve Cook to get a good count and a mark in the 10th.
Well, Ellenburg, Masters champion in '78. Steve Cook, Firestone champion, and would like to get his second major title. This, the U.S. Open.
Steve Cook will have to mark. Remember, in the 9th frame of the semifinal game on the right-hand lane, lane 32, he had that 4-6 split. If it happens again, he will lose the match.
Another 2, and too little. That's today for Frank Ellenburg with a 2-11.
For Steve Cook, needs 9 pins to win on his first ball. If he gets 8, there's a possibility of a tie. 7, he could lose the match.
There's your best way. The United States Open champion for the first time, Steve Cook of Roseville, California, and his wife, Candy. Tears of joy, and look at that gracious runner-up. We won't call him a loser, Frank Ellenburg. He gets $20,000. Steve Cook will get $38,000 and the title. Look at that follow-through. 6'7" Cook of California. $211 for Ellenburg. It'll be in the 240s for the United States Open champion of 1986.
Joined some great names, the Dick Webbers, the Don Carrs. All of them have won either the national match game, the All-Star, or the U.S. Open. It's all the same. Great champion.
And Bo, the '78 Open champion, knows what it means. Big hug. Going away for a moment, then we'll come back to the Venice Galaxy lanes. Don't go away. And Steve Cook, 245 to 211. Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, fiery Barry McGuigan defends his WBA World Featherweight champion. He'll take on Daniil